Hey guys, welcome back. This past weekend, I played in the European Premium Bushiroad Springfest event online. It was well ran, thanks a lot to ENTCG. Their Discord bot has improved a lot. I played in a standard tournament a few months ago, like a month or two ago, in their Discord, and while the bot did crash and had a little few errors, it seems to have been all ironed out for this event. And honestly, it is a really good bot, and it was really well organized. And I managed to get top 8. So I'm going to go through my list. I'm going to talk about my rounds, sort of what happens. I'm not obviously going to talk too much about the deck because the deck is pretty simple. It is a stand dot deck. I'm going to talk about my matchups, some of the decisions I had to make when I didn't obviously get to kill them on my first turn. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. So here's the list. So here's the decklist portion. This is very basic. Obviously, it's Blademaster. We all know what it does and what the list is. But combo starter. I will discuss this overtrigger real quick. So me and my friend Leo, who lent me the deck, talked about which overtrigger we'd want in the deck. I mean, first off, the Dragon Empire one wasn't an option because I didn't have it. But I could go around to our friends and borrow it. We decided on this one because it's just better for in terms of when it can trigger. The issue of the Dragon Empire one is if you trigger it on a vision token swing, then and your Vanguard's not rested, it doesn't do anything besides the 100 million. I mean, the 100 million is the main reason you want it anyway. So decide on this one is better because you can give it to both rear guards, so that like if you get double stand on a vision token, obviously this is now 100 million as well. Otherwise, if the second 100 million, you just go on the Vanguard to make it unguardable. So we just decided the Great Elemental was better. That's why we played it. Then the rest of the triggers is very standard: 4 heal, 11 stand. 8 of the ones that go back. I don't have to explain this. Zazan, good card, enables GB, draws 2 cards, very good. We decided to play Leo decided to play 2 of this, and I agreed with it because first off, it's a PG. It's not a grade 0 PG, so it doesn't get stopped by anything that stops grade 0s, which is like Oracles have that. But also, if we ride it, it's an underswing for against Murakumo when they ride their AK grade 1. We can underswing with 7, as well as like a lot of decks. And on place, it draws and discards 1, so it helps us dig for the Blademaster because Blademaster's only a 4 of in this deck. Didn't help me in my top 8 game against Mo, but that's whatever. Double Bellog, we wouldn't play more. It's a bit clunky at any more than 2. Again, you only need to see these if you don't hit many stands, but it's a good card. Especially for stuff like Luard to clear their board and make your G guards a bit bigger. The next thing we changed, or I wanted to get changed, was Lava Flow. We're playing the V1 instead of the G1, mainly just because, again, 4 Blademasters. The main reason I want to call this to rearguard is just to search for a Blademaster, and obviously with the G1, I've already got a grade 3, so I don't need to search for another grade 3, so that's why I wanted this one instead. It doesn't let us underswing, so I think that's one disadvantage I had on my grade 1s when I changed this. I didn't have a lot of grade 1s that could swing under, like if I was forced to with Hawam, but end of the day, it was fine. 3 Tempest Sphere, pretty simple, not 4, just needed something to cut. Then just vanillas. Obviously Garan for the Blademaster, and the Great Elemental one because it's a 15k card. Maybe we should have played like a 7k one, kind of like Maxine. Like Maxine explained at his, or Solomon Vanguard explained in his video, we should play a 7k one to underswing, but I value the 15k guard a lot. Cut grade 2s, double Berserk. There are times where I kind of want to see this more, but I don't think there'd be anything I'd cut for the third. 4 Faraya, I can never pronounce his name. It's just a free card. On place, search for Garen or Doha. Free card. Free cards are very good. For Doha, pretty simple. We need it for Blademaster, and then for Blademaster because you'd like to see it. Apparently I didn't, but you would like to see it. So the main deck's pretty standard, and the extra deck did not come up. But, like anything beyond G-Guards didn't come up. So Drachma, good ultimate stride. Double Ziegenberg. It's a good stride option against if I had played the mirror, I'd have gone into either Ziegenberg or Dumjid Valor, because you don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk the token getting popped and you just not striding because you're not doing anything. So against the mirror or Pale Moon or any deck that had a way to out my token, I would look to stride one of these 2. I didn't come up against them, but the theory is there. Obviously free Valor.
4 Cyclone, because, making vanillas big is fun and interactive. And then G-Guards, which is like the main point of this extra deck, is just to be G-Guards. Dismal for discard and draw. In hindsight, maybe this wasn't worth playing, because if you're on grade 3, you're not really needing this. You don't need to dig for anything if you're already on grade 3. We've got Advanced Guard Dragon, just a retire for grade 1s. Could be useful against Luard. This is an Abslam. This was very good. This was great against. This is what single-handedly made it so I could guard a Luard turn, because I used Denial Griffin and Bellogs to clear the board a bit to make this bigger for the Vanguard guard, and then he couldn't attack or stand anything because I'd retired everything else. And then obviously the key point. 3 Denial Griffins, best G guard. I wish every clan had one of these. I wish there was a Credit Elemental that had Canvas 2 retire the attacking unit, because this is what sets Kagero aside from every other stand deck. Is Denial Griffin, Valkyrian, Denial Griffin it. Genesis Fenrir Loop usually relies on 1 or 2 cards, so you can just Denial Griffin one of them and you should be fine. Not so much in Dark Regular FTK or OTK, but again, if you get to grade 3, you should be fine. It's helpful against Murakumo. It's just less attacks you need to deal with. That's why, if I had to put the 4 problem decks of Murakumo, Kagero, Dark Raiders, and Genesis in their own little tier, I think this is the best deck purely because it has this, and that's the only reason. But again, very quick overview of the profile, because there's not much thinking about it. It's just I want to trigger stands. Good game. So I've just got my rounds written down here, so a little bit of coverage about what happened in them as well. So I'll just go over them for you. So round 1, I had Valkyrian stand. I got quite lucky. My opponent geocited for grade 1, and then when he got it, he got rid of his only grade 2 because he hadn't needed the other cards in hand to survive my turn, and then went and missed his grade 2. So it was pretty easy sailing. I didn't win the die roll. I only hit 2 stands, and they were on 2 different turns as well. But luckily, I had the heal for his Valkyrian when he did activate it, so I wasn't in too much danger. And that's what happens a lot in a lot of these games. So round 2, I had a friend. Of mine playing Claret Sword, which is basically just PBD Turbo and then ride into Claret Sword and then do stuff. End of the day, I hit stands. It is what it is. He didn't see the main on turn, so I didn't have to worry about the Superior Ride, and yeah. Round 3, I had Murakumo. Now this one, I played against the eventual champion. I would pronounce her name, but I do not know, so here's her YouTube channel. I should have won. I made a critical misplay where I just didn't read the card properly. Who'd have thunk? Card game player just not reading the card properly. For some reason in my head, I read it as when this unit attacks, obviously I have to guard with 5 cards, and then every attack after that had to be 5 cards. So I had a PG, 4 basically 5k shields, and then a bunch of triggers and G. Yeah, basically I threw the game. I should have won. I only hit. My stands didn't kill her. Only hit 3. But yeah, she went on to win the tournament. So you know what? I'm not that sad. Moving on, round 4 was again Valkyrie stands. It was with a friend of a friend. So he missed his searches. So every time he would search for Astral Poets, he would only get 1. So he didn't get any of Force markers. So he didn't actually ever get into Valkyrian. Fun fact though, he did 6 damage over trigger into a 6 damage heal. So that was kind of yikes, but luckily he obviously had no cards in hand, so it didn't matter. Round 5 was DIOTK. Well, I asked him if it was OTK, and he said it was. He G-assisted grade 1, removing his over trigger and a perfect guard, and then I damage denied him, so he couldn't get any early soul charging, and then when I did get to my grade 3, I just hit stands, and the game went from there. Round 6 was again Valkyrian stands. I play a lot of Genesis in this tournament. I lost the roll, however, when he went for combo with his Valkyrian, which was using Force 1, which is kind of weird. So he didn't actually have a Force 2 on his Valkyrian, so maybe I could have guarded it, but I was on grade 2. But luckily for me, first damage was an overtrigger, turning off his entire turn because he unfortunately hadn't got his overdress product yet, so we didn't have access to the overtrigger. So, praise be to overtriggers. Whether I would have lost that game, it was a bit, I don't know, like I only had 1 damage. He wasn't on force 2, so maybe I could have survived. Maybe like he would have just whiffed enough stands. I'm not sure. Then round 7, which was I had to win the round to top. Played against a friend, Matthew Harrison. He was playing Luard. I lost a die roll. I only won 1 die roll all day. No, sorry, not all day. I did win die roll in top 8, but that's a whole other story I'll get into. So lost the roll. I didn't hit stands on my first turn, so I only swung twice. I barely survived my turn. Then when I swung on my token, he guided it for. He did a bit of a misplay, which I think is because he didn't know that Blademaster gave 10. Basically, he had 2 grade 1s on the field after his turn. So I had Denial Griffin and double Bellogged. He G-guarded, moved them both to the Guardian Circle, which then allowed my Blademaster and my Vision token to gain 10k, basically making the grade 1 he moved irrelevant. But he also got a draw, so maybe that draw allowed him to put the Raven down, the 10k shield to make it 1 to pass. Unfortunately, I got an overtrigger, but it was 1 to pass. So if that overtrigger didn't exist, it would have been a stand trigger, which arguably maybe a little bit worse. Because if he had healed out of that attack, then I wouldn't have hit stand. But that's what happened. Overtrigger, Keck W. Then top 8 versus Mo. So I've known Mo for years. Obviously, I've played Vanguard for quite a while, and Mo is one of the first people I met when going outside of my city for Vanguard events. Very good player. Obviously, does consistently well. So I'm not going to downplay any of this. However, I will say I did win the die roll and then missed grade 3. I rode the PG, that is on place, discard 1, draw 1, 7k. So I swung under, I damage denied, I did everything. I then, by the time I got to my grade 3 ride turn, I didn't have grade 3, so I G-assisted, I missed. This is after I've drawn off of the starter, the PG, and for turn 1 and 2, so that's draw 4 cards gone through. Then G-assisted, didn't see any lava flows because I was playing the V lava flow specifically for this situation where I didn't see a grade 3. Didn't see that. G-assisted, no. Okay, pass. He swings, does a little bit of a setup turn, swings with a Waganahime at fucking 60k or something, 2 damage. So I take it, go to 3 damage. Goes back to me, draw for turn, still no grade 3. G-assist, no grade 3 again. I'm like, yep. Okay, swinging. I think I call Berserk Dragon, retire the Iwanagahime, and then just swing my Vanguard at the rear guard. He takes it, drive check, still nothing. Then just pass because I don't want to give him any damage. He does get Zazan. I think the reason he didn't do much turn 1 was because he didn't have Zazan. He drew it. He searches a Zazan with Fenrir, goes GB, goes Glefnir. Uses the guy that on play soul charges 6 and soul charges a bunch of Taros, among other cards, and then Glefnir obviously is just swinging 32 damage, no guard, 42 damage. I can guard it, and then 50. But I could guard it, but I look at my hand and I just what? I'm either healing out of this or I'm not. So take my damage. Overtrigger. I'm like maybe. And then it wasn't a heal, so it didn't matter. And that's how I got knocked out. Mo did go on to get second, so I am happy for him. It's no secret, I think his opinions are a little bit wacky. I'm not going to hide that, I'm not going to go on this video and pretend I'm not, salty about the whole thing. When I am on social media, take this tweet for example. This didn't age well at all. But the tournament was great. Premium is a problem. I'm going to be beating the dead horse and making a video on my opinions of Premium because I do have a few different opinions from people like some Vanguard. But thank you for watching, and hopefully going on to the next week I can top standard and maybe even win the whole thing and show that I can play non-brain dead decks. Although I may be playing Bastion for standard, so maybe I can't play non-brain dead decks. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.